Hi, guys, and welcome back to Left on Red with Sierra Claire. It's your host, Sierra. Now, today's episode is titled, Is Everyone Getting Married Except Me? Like most people, I've been to a few weddings. I have some wedding plans coming up in the future to go to, baby showers, other notable occasions that adults have. So today we're going to be discussing, is everyone getting married except us? If you can relate to the title. We're going to talk about what's the etiquette for a wedding, the do's and the don'ts. Are we really behind in life? And just kind of all the things that we don't usually talk about when it comes to weddings, like if you should decline being in a wedding, all the things, weddings, and notable occasions that adults have in their life. All right. So grab a snack, get comfy. We're going to be diving right into this episode with, should I be married yet or close to it? Okay. So here's I guess the tea, right? I'm 25. I currently don't have a boyfriend. And in my culture, so I come from a Caribbean background, and I feel like my cousins were the first generation that were not married by 25. Like only one cousin I can think of. He's actually 34 and he has one kid already, but the rest of us, we did everything our parents told us to do. So let me know if you guys can relate. Like we went to school, going to college was a non-negotiable. There was no other option. We all went to college. Most of us got our master's degree, but all of us got our bachelor's degree, and we went straight into the workforce and we girl bossed. Or if you're a guy, you did the guy thing, you climb the corporate ladder. So we did all of the things that our family told us to do because we're the first generation that was born here in America. So we, that American dream culture, that hustle culture, they honestly instilled that in us and kind of grinded that to be what we were going to do. And we all did it. And so I feel like my cousins, at least, were the first generation that at 25, we don't have any kids. Like I'm pretty sure most of my great aunts, they had all their kids by 25 and were married already, or were married twice. And so I feel like because growing up, having a boyfriend or wanting to go out or doing all of those things, my mom was completely against, and I did rebel. I still had a boy. I still did all the things she told me not to do, but I still kept my head in the books and did what I was told in that sense. But she never encouraged me to date. She was never there was never a healthy relationship. Like you should be dating and you should have these experiences. It was like, no, all men are bad. You shouldn't. You need to keep your head in the books. And then now at 25, she's like, "Where's your boyfriend?" And I'm like, boyfriend. Like growing up, that was just not a thing. So I feel like we are me and my cousins are that first generation, but I do feel like I'm probably the only single cousin though. And I'm not single by choice. So I've had a boyfriend before. Um, like we were on and off in high school, and then my freshman to junior year in college, we were back on. But that's it. Like everything else has been a situationship, FWB, whatever we want to call it nowadays. Like it hasn't been substantial. So I turned 26 this year. I've only had one boyfriend. And I feel like now most people have gone through at least three boyfriends, at least having three partners by 26. They've at least had three partners. If not, they're in a long-term relationship. And so I do feel a tad bit behind. And I was recently scrolling on Facebook and Instagram, and I see my old high school and my college friends, but more so my high school friends that are back home. I went to school in Florida, and they're having kids already. They're on second or third kids. They closed on a house. They're posting all of these great, all of these notable accomplishments, right? Like you have the kids, you post about it, you buy the house, you have the picture of your family and you holding the we just closed sign. And I'm just am I behind? I spent all last year traveling, as you guys know, in the Eat, Pray, Love episode 5. If you haven't listened to it, it's a good one. But as you guys know from that episode, I spent 12 weeks abroad, which were great, right? but I spent these 12 weeks abroad, like figuring myself out, dating different people. Like, I think all the things that you should be doing, like there is no right or wrong. I don't think at 25, right, that I'm so behind because I traveled for 3 months. And I don't think somebody else is behind because they're on their second kid. It's just kind of like we're all in different places in life, but it's hard to not feel like you're not left behind or you're not doing something right. Like, I don't know. This is like a vent sesh because I do kind of feel that way. Like maybe I'm behind a little bit. Maybe I'm not. But I see other people, scrolling. I'm scrolling on Instagram and Facebook, and I'm seeing everybody have on their first and second kids. I see my college friends are now getting proposed to, and it's just I have this like craving for that. This craving for this romance, for this intimacy, for this family, because I really do want a family. I really do want kids. Like that's so important to me. And I don't think it's far in the distance that I will never get it. I just feel like, maybe it's just not my time right now. And I think I'm trying to find comfort in when is it gonna, like, it not being my time in the moment, but knowing my time is coming. I want to find my person, but I'm like in no rush. Okay. I've seen marriages. Now, this is the important thing is I've seen marriages and relationships in my family from people who I feel like they are not truly happy. Like they got married for the convenience and they don't know how to leave. And I think we've all have seen some type of relationship where people, these two people are married and it's purely for convenience, whether they have kids, whether one person's more financially well off, etc. It's just out of the convenience because leaving will be much harder or more expensive. I don't want to be in a marriage like that. Like, I don't want to be miserable. I don't want to, when people ask me how's marriage, like how's married life, I'm like, oh, it's miserable. Like, we know when you ask people, like, how long have you been married? Like, what's the secret to marriage? And they're like, oh, spend the least amount of time together. It's like, that fucking sucks. Like, I don't want that. I want to find my person, but I want that person to be like my best friend. Someone I can laugh with, talk with, like lean on. It's like a solid foundation, right? Like it's not out of convenience or because the light theory within men where when their light is flashing they're ready to get married and they just find the nearest girl. I don't want that. Like I really want it to be something built solid. Now, does it need to take like 10 years to get a proposal? Absolutely not. I think within like the year of you guys together you should know. With that being said, in that year you can build a solid foundation. So I guess I'm just dealing with the obstacles right now as well from being laid off. So finding myself, doing this podcast, which I love, finding what else I want to do for work, kind of getting myself in order. And so I'm not in a rush because I'm thinking, how can I be the best self for my future partner? Right. Like, I think I'm amazing now. I can obviously always be better. But when you're going through multiple life changes of being laid off, not sure what you're going to do with your life next, finding the new thing at the right time, wanting to date and finding your person, it's just like all these like different like little things coming together, you lose kind of sense of who you are. And I want to prioritize who I am, being the best person for me, continuing to better myself every single day. But I'm not going to stop, dating, right? So as you guys know, I went speed dating and then I got a date from that, which I genuinely was very shocked that I even got a date from speed dating, which sounds very silly, but that date like went well and we have a second date. So we'll see where that goes. But I'm not stopping myself from dating if it happens or putting myself out there, but I'm just not prioritizing it. Now, if a good person comes along and it is aligned, I'm gonna do it. But in the sense of, am I behind in my life right now? I don't think so. But I think we all have had a moment where we want to compare. Like you go online and you see like your friend from college or somebody from high school, or even if it's just like these influencers, right? Getting proposed to, making $1 million by 19, doing all these different things, right? And it's just like, I live at home and I'm laid off and I'm this and I'm that. And it's like, we need to speak good things into ourselves. Like, okay, you're laid off. That's fine. You don't have to work for a little bit. Find what you want to do. Okay, you still live at home? Guess what? You get to save money to have your dream house or apartment one day. Like, find the positive in everything. This is something I definitely have to do within myself, but we don't need to compare ourselves to our friends when we're in different stages of our life, even if we're the same age. We're all, it's not a race, you know, it's the journey. But getting into our friends and comparing, this is going to go into topic 2. We're going to our friends' events, but are they even coming to ours? Now, this topic I love this topic, and it's so dynamic to me because I'm 25. So I'm officially, mid 20s, and I have a lot of friends in their obviously mid 20s, but going into their late 20s. And this topic comes up, I promise you, at least for me, because I'm a conversationalist and I ask people questions like every 2 months, right? And the discussion always is, it's coming from a point of view of a friend who is not married and doesn't have kids, that is going to the friends' occasions, who are married with kids and doing all the things, but it's not being reciprocated. So, and this has happened to me as well. I have gone to baby showers, gender reveals. I'm going to the engagement party, the wedding. Mind you, the friend that is having all of these occasions are 100% expecting a gift, more than likely money. So if you got proposed to, married and have a baby all within like 18 months, they're expecting gifts or cash for all 3 occasions. They just are, no matter what they want to say, like, oh, like it's not for the gifts, it's for your presents. No, it's 100% for the gifts. And most of us, we are the friends that are going. We're like, you know what? I'll be at your gender reveal. I love you. I'll be at your engagement party. I love you. I will be a guest in your wedding, even though I thought I would be a bridesmaid. I love you. And I'm giving $500 for the wedding. I'm giving $300 for the engagement party. I'm giving $100 for, like, you're just throwing out money. Now, are they coming to your events? Maybe you're getting your master's and you're graduating. Are they coming to your graduation? If not, are they Venmoing you $100, $200? Are they coming to your celebration happy hour because you got promoted? No. And sometimes their excuse is valid, but they have kids and they're married, but it's like, where is the common ground in this friendship? Okay, where is the common ground? If I am giving you $500 for your wedding, $300 for your baby shower, $100 at the engagement party, and I'm asking is for you to come to happy hour to celebrate my promotion, and it's like pulling teeth, where's the friendship? Because to me at that point, it's transactional. It's very much transactional. And it's a one-way transaction. It's me coming to your events and you not coming to mine. Now, I had a family member who did this, and he would never come to any like family events, whether it's a barbecue, cookout, somebody's graduation, whatever it may be. But when he got married, he invited all the aunties, right, who were going to give big money. When he had his son's first birthday, we all were invited. When they, obviously for their engagement party, the baby shower, the everything. And I will never forget my other cousin. He turned to me and he said, Sierra, I'm starting to feel like a prop, and I'm just not going to do it anymore. And I was like, what do you mean a prop? And he's like, isn't it convenient that he only invites us when it's a big event for us to give money, and we never hear from him for the rest of the year? And I was like, you're not wrong. And he really wasn't wrong. Every time it was an event, he invited everyone else, but the rest of the year, never a call, never a card, or never showing up to any other events. And at the last event that he had, that I know about, was a baby shower for his second baby. And I don't think many people showed. And not that we didn't want to go and be supportive, but it's like, if I'm showing up just to give you money every time you decide to have a baby or get married or your life occasion, and you're never there for me, you're using me. And I feel like that happens in a lot of friendships, which leads to a lot of resentment, because it can't be one way. There has to be a common ground. Yes, you may have a kid or you're tired or something, but show up for your friends. show up. Because as the friend with no kid, it feels like you guys exclude us, or we're not on that caliber. We're not, the married, we're not in the suburbs, we don't have any kids. And it's okay to make your own group of friends that can relate to you, but show up for your friends that are still there for you. If I have to travel from Brooklyn into the suburbs, okay, that's a journey. I'm not even coming from the city. I'm coming from Brooklyn. That's a journey. So show up for your friends. And I think this also will kind of segue into the wedding etiquette. And before I even get into the simple do's or don'ts, I want to talk about declining on being in a wedding, because this all kind of ties into, again, that one-way transaction. I know a few people that have been invited to be in a wedding, or asked to be in a wedding, I guess you can say, and they were estranged from the bride, like they haven't talked in a few months or years, and kind of the same thing, like they didn't really know the bride that well, or it just seemed out of convenience, like the bride didn't have enough friends, and she's like, oh, like, please be in my wedding. And I think it's okay to decline to be in a wedding. Being in a wedding is very expensive. It's time consuming. There's always a lot going on, and there's drama to the fullest T. I'm not even digging into the iceberg when I say it is drama. And I feel like if the bride's asking you and you guys aren't that close, you haven't been friends in years, it seems like it's for convenience. She doesn't have a lot of friends, or she put way too many people in her wedding, or it's just for people to think that she has a lot of, like, any one of those reasons that come up and your gut feels off, decline. And respectfully say, I would love to be a guest. You don't have to be in somebody's wedding just because they're asking you. I know someone who is in 7 weddings this year. Out of the 7, only 2 are her really good friends, but she didn't want to decline the other 5 people. I'm like, decline. Like, you spend so much money on a dress, on the bachelorette, just on the actual wedding day itself. You're doing so much. And again, it's a one-way transaction. And I think we need to stop normalizing these one-way transactions in friendships. Say no. You're not the bad guy. If they're not your best friend, you don't have to go. You don't have to go. Okay? It's okay. We're not behind in life. It's okay to say no. And it's okay to have an open conversation with your friend if you feel like it's transactional. Because if they're only calling you for these big events and never come to yours, is that even a friendship? Probably not. Now, getting into the etiquette, do's and don'ts. I went to a wedding in January, which was a whirlwind, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. It was a whirlwind. There was drama. It was very, very, very late in starting. Okay. It was, the bride and the groom. We didn't know if they were going to walk. It was yelling. It was screaming. It was fun times on the dance floor, but very questionable everywhere else. Okay. So I learned a lot of do's and don'ts. So I'm going to just start with the guests. Okay. So if you're a guest, do bring a gift. And that, for me, the gift is always money. Obviously, look at the registry, follow the registry. Money is always a safe option. Now, do bring money as a gift that covers your plate plus an extra $150. Okay. So I feel like the plate is about between $100 and $200. So if the plate, mind you, we're not gonna know exactly how much the plate is, between 100 and 200 plus an extra 150 for the bride and groom. So that can be what, like 350, 400. I like to make it even. You could do 400. I feel the money gift should be between $300 and $500. If you're traveling far for the wedding, okay, maybe 200. But if the travel is pretty short, between 300 and 500. Also, another do, RSVP by the deadline. That is just respect. It's etiquette. The bride and groom are stressed to know how much people are coming. So please RSVP by the deadline. Read everything before asking the bride. And actually, just don't ask the bride. She's stressed. She's going through 1,001 emotions. She's overwhelmed. She's anxious. Don't read. She'll probably have a website. She'll probably already have sent out emails, text messages. Read the website your emails and your text and ask somebody in the bridal party or another guest before you ask the bride, and just don't even ask the bride. Do be a friend in need, even if you're the guest. Do not be one of those people that are like, well, I'm just here to show up. Like, if the bride, especially if the bride is your friend, like, you're not just going as a plus one. If the bride or groom is your friend and they need you or they need extra hands for something and you just happen to be around, please do it. Don't be like, well, I'm just here to be a guest and be in my pretty dress. Like, yeah, you're here to be in a nice dress or suit, but like, come on, it's her day. It's their day. Do follow the dress code, please. If it's black tie, formal, follow the dress code, okay? Follow the dress code. Now, don't come with a bad attitude. I think that goes without saying. Come in a good mood, be happy. Do not be miserable. Do not be like, oh my God, she's getting married before me, or oh my God, look at her dress. Keep all the negative talk for after the wedding. Nobody wants to hear it. You look bitter. Don't do it. Do not match the wedding party. Now, like I said, do follow the dress code. Don't match the wedding party. So, just be off from, like, if their colors are like, teal and white and black, you don't need to come in those colors. You just follow the actual dress code. You don't need to always match the colors. Yeah, don't match with the wedding party. Don't assume that you can bring a plus one. If your invitation says you and you only, come with you and you only. Because guess what? Your plus one will not have a place to sit. I have seen that happen at the wedding I went to in January. People were bringing plus ones, twos, threes, and fours, and fives. Not kidding, guys. And they had nowhere to sit. It was embarrassing. It was a hot fucking mess. I'm going to just be honest with you. So do not bring a plus one. And don't overdo it on the drinks, okay? Do not overdo the drinks. Drink responsibly. Be an adult, okay? Know how much your limit is. Have a good time, but don't be that weird person that's, you have overindulged in your alcohol and now you're on the dance floor, you're busting splits, you're touching everybody, you're acting like it's not funny, it's not cute, it's actually sad, okay? Now, let's refer the guests. Things I think just in general, I think you should have an open bar at your wedding. And I know that contradicts a tiny bit about my last statement on for the guests to not overdo it on the drinks. But again, this is up to them to drink responsibly. As just when you're at a wedding, like, you think we want to pay, mind you, people have just paid to buy their outfit. Okay. This is for my bride and groom right now. Your guest / bridal party has paid for their outfit, for their hotel, for their transportation, for their flight, rental car, and they have given you a gift. The very least is to have the open bar. I've been to a wedding where the drinks they were like $7, and then they had like a cap time, like they stopped selling them at a certain hour. Please don't do that. Have the open bar. We're coming to have a good time, okay? We're coming to have a good time. I do think you should have a wedding planner, bride and groom. People think having a wedding is super easy. People will come and just sit down. There's a lot of moving parts. Have a wedding planner. It will just make your life a lot easier. And some of the rules that I think are a bit silly is having a plus one, like your plus one can only be somebody that you're married to. I think that's a bit much. Like saying, oh, you can have a plus one, but you guys have to be married or be together for at least like 12 months or 18 months, or like, it's just like, no. Let somebody have a plus one. Who cares? Doesn't matter who they are. As long as the person's like, normal, bring a plus one. A wedding rule that I do agree with is no kids. No kids. They're crying, they're screaming. You have to have daycare services. It's a whole lot. It's too much. No kids at the wedding. It is time to have a good time and party, okay? The last wedding I went to actually did provide daycare services, but again, only for a small portion. So then the kids had to come back in. So it's just too much. It's just too much, okay? Those are my kind of like do's and don'ts, my hot topics on just everything. But to wrap up this episode, I think it's important for us to just realize we don't need to compare ourselves to our friends. We or as good as somebody who is married with kids. It's not like where it's going to happen for us when it's supposed to happen. I truly believe that. And if you're in your traveling era, like I was last summer, then you're in your traveling era. If you're in your getting married and you're planning it and you're doing your own do's and don'ts, then you're in your wedding era. And it doesn't mean you're more than or you're less than. It just means this is where you're at in life. We need to stop having like one-way friendships and be friends around people that want us around for all life occasions, not just that the ones that require money or a gift, and just be an actual friend. Okay. So that's how I'm going to end the episode on a very positive note. Everyone's getting married except me, but I will be getting married when it's my time, and so will you. And we'll all enter exactly the certain life phases that we're supposed to be when it's supposed to happen. So I hope you guys love this episode. Please like, subscribe, share, leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think. Please leave a review, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye, guys.